Many blessings, my loves. My name is Rebecca, and this is my report for Pillars of the Moon for this new lunar cycle. So, blessings and welcome to you all. I hope that this culmination of this eclipse cycle is drawing all the threads back home, and we are integrating and processing that whole huge cycle, which has been phenomenal, right? Life-changing. The last lunar cycle has been, with the eclipses and everything, has been so intense. And I just want to congratulate us all for coming through the other side. And yes, so I'm going to share a screen with you all with some little artwork that I've created for this new lunar cycle. So so you can see that the new moon will be in Libra on the 13th of November at 9:27, and that's in the GMT time zone. So as I'm recording this video, it's the 11th of the 11th. So the new moon will be in 2 days from today. So we are at the dark of the moon this evening when I'm recording this. And then moving into the waxing quarter, the first quarter moon will be in Aquarius and will be with our friend Saturn on the 20th of November. Shortly after that, the sun will move into Scorpio. Stays in Scorpio for not very long at all. So it's in 23rd of November to the 30th of November. It's true Scorpio season. And we will have a full moon in Taurus on the 27th of November. Beautiful full moon that will be, really close to the Pleiades star cluster. Yum. And then the last quarter moon will be in Leo, conjunct black moon Lilith and Juno on the 5th of December. And then the day after that, Neptune will go direct. So when we're looking at the whole cycle, as I always do, everything comes in a cycle. And we are working in cycles, we're in cycles, we're in cycles. We've got cosmic cycles, we've got the wheel of the year, we've got the lunar cycle, we've got the cycles of the seasons, and we've got this cosmic also, order of the universe and the cycles within the universe herself. So looking at this whole cycle, is we can see that the new moon will be in Libra and the full moon will be in Taurus. So these two are ruled by Venus. And so that can bring us a flavor of this cycle will be really Venusian, as the new moon and the full moon will be connected to Venus. Venus is now moved into Virgo, and she's making a trine aspect around the new moon time to Pluto. So stuff that will be coming up this cycle could be a lot about our relationships and our hearts and all that we love. And there could be an opportunity for deep transformation and within our close relationships. Also, I wanted to bring our attention as well to Neptune as well, going direct at the end of this cycle. So there is like a really strong, but he has a strong part to play also, because Neptune being connected to our dreams and our illusions, our psychic ability as well as visions, and also the ways that we may deceive ourselves or others. It's also connected to our intuition and can also bring elements of fogginess. So at the end of this retrograde, he's going to be tying up a lot of things so that he can move forward. So I would say, with this cycle being very themed around our hearts and our values and all of the themes of Venus, that it could be coming through in our close and personal relationships around themes around, you know, deceptions or illusions, our visions and our dreams. Also with the energy of Black Moon Lilith, who is aligned to the last quarter moon in Leo, you know, and the sun will be moving into Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, around that time. And Lilith is obviously connected to the serpent as well, as we all know. So there's a very strong divine feminine energy that is flowing through this whole cycle, very serpentine, very sexual, very sensual, very relational. So this whole cycle could feel quite deep, especially with Venus in trine to Pluto. It could feel very sensual. It could feel also very intense. Our feelings could feel quite intense. So, you know, looking at the whole cycle with Neptune going direct right at the end of it before we have our new moon in Ophiuchus, which will be the week after that, you know, we will be really, perhaps this cycle is a way of like attuning to our relationships and obviously coming into more balance with dynamics within those relationships that may be of the past, that may be ready to be transformed into a new dynamic. So we may be deceiving ourselves around certain patterns or deluding ourselves. So this cycle could be around a huge transformation around our sexual energy as well, and our kundalini and our life force. And to come to the completion of the cycle with Neptune going direct, to really move forward with the dream of our hearts, you know, what it is that we are really dreaming in this heart space, or that we value. It'll be really important this cycle. So I'm drinking my tea. I'm going to stop sharing that one now, and I'm going to jump over into the live sky with you all. So this is Stellarium Web. So many of you who've been following this channel for a while will know that I use astronomy for my astrology, because to me they are one, they are the same. And, you know, I practice the art of oracling the sky as it is. And just like my ancient ancestors would have done, and that I may have done in past lives, you know, really weaving in this wisdom of the stars as they are in real time. So that's why it doesn't match Western astrology, because Western astrology doesn't match the live sky. I'm not going to go into that now. If you want to ask more questions about that, you're welcome to contact me about that subject, because that's a big rabbit hole that I don't want to go into this evening. So we can see this moon here. This is right now in the live sky. Just make that a bit bigger. And yes, so the moon has just crossed over Spica today, beautiful Bohemian star of magic and gifts and the harvest, and yeah, magical star Spica. So anyway, the moon has crossed over Spica now and is in its dark phase. So we're going to move the clock forward now. So you can see here it's the 11th of the 11th. Going to go forward to the 13th of the 11th, and that's at 9:27 in the morning is the time of the new moon. We're just going to change the time so it's exact for you. Here we go. So look at this, at the time of the new moon, you can see we've got Moon, Sun, Mars, Ceres, all in the central pillars of Libra. So yeah, there's lots to say about that, isn't there, really? But what I wanted to really share about first, before I go into like the aspects and the planets and things, is actually the holy gates of Venus and Libra and Taurus on the other side are actually the holy gates of Venus. So Libra, obviously ruled by Venus, is the gate into death. It's the gate into the underworld. So when we meet with Libra, we leave the earth of Virgo, the physical body, and we come into the gates of Egyptian goddess Maat. This is where we balance our heart. We need to become light, like air. Libra is connected to the air element. It's like we need to let go of and release anything that feels heavy in our heart so that we can die, transform, release the old cycle in love. And so the gates of death and the gates of life are both anchored with the Venusian frequency of love. And so when we leave this physical realm, we leave in love, Libra. And when we enter back in through the gates of Taurus, which is actually where the Pleiades star cluster is, Taurus is the physical again. So we're coming back into the physical body. So going on a quick little journey with you all. So as I was saying, Libra is the gate into the underworld. So originally, I've said this before, I'll say it again for any of you that haven't heard, Libra and Scorpio were one constellation. The claws of Scorpio, of Libra, sorry, there's two stars, which I'm not even going to attempt to say now because it's late, were originally the claws of Scorpio. So at one point, this constellation was much larger than it is considered to be today. So when you're taking into account that these two constellations are in marriage, connection, there's no separation, that this is a journey. So in the Libran energy, we are weighing our heart, we're returning to love, so we can rest in peace. So where that saying comes from, Libra is all about peace, okay? Balance, harmony. So as we're preparing to come into this death portal of Scorpio, know that we are actually aligning our hearts with this lightness of the feather so we can balance ourselves before we let go of our physical body. So this is a huge part of the puzzle, right? So as we're going into the Scorpio energy, this is the energy of the endings of the old cycles and the death. And Royal Star Antares has a big part to play in this too, Royal Star of the West. So the West is the time of transformation, of release, of the water, so it's the time of death as well. So when we're crossing over Antares, we are coming into this time of death. And we're going down the tail of the scorpion and we're coming to Shula. When we get to Shula, this is the place of awakening, of ascension, and coming into the frequency of Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer. So you can see this is like the serpent that's awakening, the Kundalini, or the life force, or our spirit even, to ascend into the spiritual realms. So all the way from Ophiuchus, we come through the waters. We've got Pisces, we've got Cetus, we've got the Aquarian energy, which is the Grail. Capricornus has even got a fin. He's a swimmer, actually. So there's the fish here of Pisces, Ostranus. So anyway, this area here is connected to the water and the ocean. And the spirit, actually. So, the energy of Sagittarius, where we go after the Ophiuchian energy, is all about expanding our spirit into the cosmos and finding our true soul essence and frequency. And this is a journey. So we're journeying through the spiritual realms. And, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the winter. So when we're coming into this time of Sagittarius, we're actually crossing the galactic center, which is this beautiful yoni shape in our cosmos. So this is a rebirth, this is why we have, the rebirth of the sun and all of the winter solstice or Christmas time. And the Sagittarian energy really marries in well with the energy of Father Christmas, like that generosity and giving and sharing and expansion and growth and kindness and spirituality. So when we're thinking of it as a seasonal journey, on the flip side, the balance is that the full moon will be in Taurus, which is coming out into the body again. It's coming out of the soil. It's all of the flowers opening and the beauty of the roses and the tulips and the sensuality of life, of a new cycle into the world. So the cycles are always balanced because the new moon will be where we're at in the northern hemisphere and the full moon will be where you're at in the southern hemisphere. So it's always in balance. So going through the journey that I was taking you on, we go into this great spiritual ocean of Pisces, and then we find ourselves in the birth portal here, which is where Jupiter is so nicely situated right now. So this is the birth portal into a new world, and actually this energy here is a real void space, so it's a place of in between worlds even. And this the Aries is like the ring of fire of finding that new I am energy. And when we get to the Taurus energy, this is where we meet with the other holy gate of Venus. This is the gate of life. This is the gate of fertility, of rebirth, of, like I said, spring, coming out into a new beginning, a new life, and all the beauty and the love and the connection that comes with that. So this is what I mean about the gates of Venus being the gates of life and death, and that Venus takes us into spirit and Venus brings us out again. So she's a great, great friend of us in this solar system. And I've been feeling her energy really strongly, the way I see her in the morning and really connecting with her as the morning star. And we've just had our Venus moon conjunction connected to the throat chakra. I've just got over this biggest cough I've ever had. So much clearing in my throat. So yeah, all magic. So yeah, I wanted to share about that because I feel like this cycle, is about endings and beginnings, wherever we are in the world, north or the south. It's a new cycle that we are coming into. And, if you're coming into the spring and you're shaking off, the coziness of the winter, and you're maybe, stepping out into the freshness of the new spring energy. And those of us who are in the north, we're really preparing to turn in and enter the spirit realms of the winter and connect with our ancestors and the spiritual realms and the inner dream time. So I'm going to jump back over to the moon. I just wanted to talk about the energy of Mars, who's conjunct the new moon, which means he's with the new moon. So this Mars has also got a strong part to play in this new lunar cycle. So I would say that this cycle is ruled by Venus because the new moon is in Libra, but Mars is also here too. So that brings me into this feeling of, okay, so this cycle is around perhaps our connection, Venus's connection to the Mars energy. And there could be a balancing happening between the masculine and feminine inside of us. And that could be reflecting in our relationships, the energy of ambition and drive and pushing and going for stuff and willpower and that real kind of strong masculine force, is in the gates of Libra, trying to find balance. And so we've got the asteroid Ceres here as well. And Ceres is a dwarf planet, and she's so watery, like this bluey, greeny, maternal, mothery color, and she feels so soft and gentle. So her really close to the new moon and Mars as well. We could feel like this kind of like balancing between like nurturing and caregiving and support and gentleness and this kind of like fiery, passionate will. So these are actually combining their energies. So it's like we're needing to balance these energies inside of us. So, are we pushing too hard? Could we be maybe being more in our Mars and being more aggressive or more forceful, or pushing too hard, maybe getting more angry or aggressive, or and Ceres is there. It's like maybe we're over nurturing, maybe we're too soft, maybe we're not kind of dynamic enough, maybe we just kind of like, oh yeah, and be very kind of like pushovery, so really bringing this into our attention for this new lunar cycle. This is where we're beginning. So it's good to know where we're beginning, right? And we could also feel like there's an energy of being highly motivated towards the people that we care about, feeling this kind of like feeling of assertiveness towards that which we want to nurture. So there could be like a drive or a will to take care of things that are important to our heart and our values, and especially in our close relationships and our partnerships and our connections with our family and our loved ones. I feel like those of us who are in relationships with husbands, partners, whatever, there could be a lot of balancing happening in those partnerships this cycle. And it feels like with the energy of coming into Scorpio and Ophiuchus and the Taurus full moon, and then the last quarter moon with Black Moon Lilith, it's going to be a lot around our body and our sensuality and our feelings. In trine to Pluto, it's like, wow, okay. So, new moon in Libra. This is so bright because it's dark here now, but I'm just going to go over the new moon chart with you all. So you can see I've already been squiggling. So we've got the moon and sun here in Libra, Mars here, Ceres here. Mercury is actually over in Scorpio, but he is close to Ceres. I would say that he is also having an effect on this new moon, kind of stellium, I would say. So we could be feeling like this voice of Mercury wanting to communicate secrets or things that might have been hidden. Or we may want to talk about things that have happened in the past regarding our sensuality, sexuality, our body, and all things mysterious and like occult, kind of tantric. There could be a lot of sharing about really deep things that could be quite intense, and there could be great depth in it. So just really tuning into that. And this new moon with this stellium here is in T-square to Black Moon Lilith, who is in Leo. And she's coming down and she's in T-square to Uranus. So the Uranian energy is over in Aries. This is very fiery. But here's at number 22. And now some of you will know that this is a number of Venus, or connected to the Mary Magdalene frequency at least. So Mary Magdalene feast days on the 22nd. Some people connect the 22 to Mary Magdalene. Some people connect Mary Magdalene to Venus and the Rose lineage. So there's no accidents here. But the Uranian energy is, opposing this new moon and Mars. So it could be bringing up a lot of explosiveness It could, in our relationships, it could be bringing up arguments, could be bringing up an element of surprise, things happening that are unexpected or that take us off guard. And when we have a T-square, it's two squares together. T-squares can represent challenges, but challenges that come to bring us growth, to help us release some tension. So there could be some kind of dynamics and tensions within our relationships that are needing to rattle and move so that they can transform into a new cycle. And the Libran energy really is around the order of the universe, and it's really about order within our subconsciousness and order within our heart. And so we could be feeling this energy of really deep soul transformation around how we relate, how we are in our relationships. So the Black Moon Lilith, who's at the top of the T-square here in Leo, you know, she is in a place of power. She is the lioness. She is courageous. She is passionate. She is roaring. You know, she could come across like Sekhmet, you know, like that lion goddess of ancient Egypt. And she's incredibly powerful in this position in Leo. So it's like the feminine aspect of Lilith, who also can represent our sexuality, the serpent energy, all of the fears and the shadows that may have been suppressed within our psyche. You know, it could be coming up onto the table, this cycle. Maybe things from our past that we may have squashed down and said, oh, I'm not going to look at that because it's too painful, or I'm scared of that, or I don't want to do that. You know, like Lilith, this cycle is challenging us to look at our darkness and to, with the Uranian energy and the Mars energy, to break through old patterns and cycles. I would say really connected to our body, really connected to our relationships, really connected to our hearts. So yeah, that's felt like a really big piece for me, this cycle, to really tuning into this energy of transformation within how we connect with others. And then also, of course, I shared about the Venus energy in trine to Pluto. You know, so this is going to take us deep. He's moving forwards now in Sagittarius. So he's hopefully feeling, the Pluto energy is feeling more powerful, like knowing their inner truth and their belief. And in trine to Venus, who's in Virgo, you know, it could feel like a real healing time for our body. Actually, like we could be really transforming in a really deep way the patterns of the past. Chiron is still, you know, close to the North Node as well, when dwarf planet Eris is just in here too. You know, so the healing that is happening is collective. So there we are going through a collective cycle of healing. And this cycle, particularly, you know, the focus is on our loved ones, our values, but also, you know, we know that Venus is connected to our finances and the money that we bring in. So, you know, we could be really looking at areas where we may feel scarcity, or we may not feel abundant, or with the Black Moon Lilith, who's in Leo, you know, there could be fears around our creativity, or coming across like we know it all, or that we want to be the leader in charge of everything, or a fear of that even, you know. And also a shadow of Lilith in Leo could be around pride, having too much pride in us that we just won't do it, you know. So this cycle could really humble us. It could maybe have us saying sorry for things we might have said or done. It may have us on our knees in really finding this balance between, you know, the over assertive or dynamic and or the over nurturing or the under nurturing. Like there's a whole thing going on with these energies, this cycle. And Neptune, who I spoke about at the beginning, who's going to be going direct at the end of this cycle, he's also in trine to the new moon. So, and you know, for us in the time zone that I'm in the UK, this is in the 4th house, you know, so this is a lot to do with our home life. So really tuning into Neptune and his impact, you know, the trine energy is helpful for us. It's going to make us say, okay, so where am I deluding myself in this relationship? Or where am I deceiving myself or someone else? Or have I got an illusion of how things are at home? And is that actually true? Or is that just a story that I'm playing out? So, yeah, really working with the Neptune energy a lot this cycle, really using that, attuning to our dream world as well could be really useful, you know, making some sense of our inner world, you know, to try and dive into our dreams and what they may be telling us about our deepest desires and yearnings and fears and everything. So I think that may be all for the new moon chart. I'm just going to go over to the first quarter moon in Aquarius. So you can see at the time of the first quarter moon, Mars is with the Sun and Ceres. So these two are, Ceres and Mars are really journeying with the Sun at the moment. So we've got assertive nurturing, or really feeling driven to take care of those that we love and to come into harmony and balance with those that we love. Could be feeling lots of willpower towards that, you know. And now Mercury has moved into a Fucus at this time, and the first quarter moon will be with Saturn, and it's at 0 degrees of Aquarius, so right on the cusp here. Really beautiful first quarter moon, and it's in trine to Venus, so you can't even make that up, right? Like I said, that this cycle is so much about Venus and our hearts. You know, so as we're building the cycle, the first quarter moon is all about the building of the cycle. The energy is building up to the full moon, which will be over in Taurus here. So this is the energy of building, and who better to help us build than Saturn? So Saturn is great at building. So we could feel, you know, the time of the first quarter moon, which is on the 20th, that we're really building towards something that is greater for humanity, for our community, for our work, you know. And we may be feeling this incredible willpower from Mars and the Sun to nurture and take care and support all that we value, you know. So if we're really using this energy well, I would suggest to really channel it into the projects that are closest to your heart, closest to what we truly love, you know. And then we're using this energy well, you know, and tuning into our dreams, tuning into all of those inner visions and yearnings, and starting to take steps, take action, you know. With this first quarter moon conjunct Saturn and Mars conjunct the Sun, we could start taking action towards these dreams, you know? So yes, I would definitely be using the energy of Saturn at the time of the first quarter moon to, yeah, bring some real kind of focused attention to our commitments and responsibilities. And that could be within, you know, our wider communities as well. I'm not going to go too deep into the full moon in Taurus because I'll come back in a few weeks to go over that, and it's getting quite late here now. So, but yeah, you can see the full moon will be 11 degrees of Taurus on the 27th of November. So that will be conjunct the Pleiades star cluster. Oh, look, and Ceres is at number 22 now. How gorgeous is that? So we'll save that for another video. But I'm hoping that some of that was useful for you all. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and share. And I will see you in a few weeks. Lots of love.